Welcome back, everybody. Today I am joined with Jamie from Off The Underside again. Today we're going to be talking about the results from the SPL this weekend. How you doing, Jamie, mate? You all right?
I'm not bad, Jamesy boy. How are you, pal?
Aye, good, mate. It's good to have you back on. Get a bit of football talk again. Obviously, the weekend fixtures. What was your thoughts on any of them? Did you have any big thoughts on any games? Or
Well, I sat and watched the Hearts and Rangers game, the early kick-off on Sunday. Um, I thought I was really expecting a really good game, to be honest, but I thought it was a bit dull, and especially the first half. It was there was no really much action in it. Obviously, Rangers thought they took the lead, but Fernandez was just slightly offside. But he had to go and get it because it was obviously a Miloski header. He had to go to the back post. It was going by the post. But the thing is, it's like I've seen people on X and that talking about that decision, and there's certain angles where you'd think maybe he wasn't offside. And, one of the boys in the group chat sent me a thing as well with the lines, and the lines didn't look straight at all. But and the thing is, it's like they have to get these decisions right, James, because if Rangers take the lead in that game, that's a completely different game. You know what I mean? It's after that you've got something to defend. But didn't happen. Then Hearts got the park. It was a good header for Finlay to take the lead. Aye, and then after that, obviously Shankland scored. Mate, I don't know what you thought, but I thought Butland was a disgrace for that goal. You cannot be getting beat at your near post like that, man.
I was going to talk about that. Like, as a goalie, do you think Butland should be dropped after these performances recently, or because personally I think he should be. I don't think he's
Well,
very good at starting 11, especially after that second goal.
aye, well, I know you had Stuart Hale on the show, mate, a few weeks ago, and then we ended up having him last week as well. And I asked him a question, like, in the transfer window, what positions would you want to go for? They said them all, and then he went on to like defenders and strikers and that. And I was thinking, but I didn't say anything at the time because Davey's a Rangers fan on the podcast as well, and they were kind of agreeing on the positions and that. And I was thinking, how is nobody mentioning the goalkeeper here? Because I feel Butland has not been. He's not been good enough in the past couple of years, to be honest, mate. You cannot be getting beat your near post like that. If he defends that near post properly, Shankland's no scoring on the other side. Do you know what I mean? So I think Rangers need a new goalie, mate. I think they need. There is obviously several positions they need, but if I was in your position, mate, I'd be wanting rid of Butland. Man, there's too many errors like that. You know what I mean? There's too many. Again, if he saves that properly, it's still only 1-0. You're still in the game. When you go into 2-0 at half time, mate, in any match, it's hard to come back for that.
I definitely think Liam Kelly should be given his chance, but Kenny was captain at Motherwell before he come back to Rangers. I definitely think he needs to be given his chance now, especially after yesterday, because that was a joke.
I agree, mate. I think he deserves it. I mean, he did come in for a wee stint. Was it last season?
Aye, when Butland was, I think, suspended or one of them.
Aye. I thought he done all right. You know what I mean? I think he done okay. I mean, if Butland's making mistakes like that, you've got to be dropped. But it's the saves like in the second half when Hearts boy was through, and I can't remember if it was maybe Braga, and he has to strike, and Butland makes a good save down to his right. But I mean, he is good at shot stopping and he is reliable and that kind of thing. But there's just too many errors in him, I think.
Aye. On the Hearts Rangers game, Hearts are top of the league at Christmas. Do you think they could go on to win the league? I know you're a Celtic fan and you want to say no, but realistically, 6 points clear at the top. Do you think that this is maybe their year? There's no real fun winning the league, or do you think they're going to bottle it and Celtic will go on to win it? Because I think Rangers will only win this league this year.
I done a video on TikTok a few months ago, and loads of people are kind of still commenting on that now because it's kind of it's backfired a bit, mate. Because the video was Hearts will not win the league, right? So I was just basically saying Hearts only on the league. They've not got a squad. They've not got the depth. Listen, mate, I'm going to be honest. We're in December here. They can win the league. They definitely can win the league. But it all just depends on Celtic for me, mate, how Celtic going. Because to me, it's obviously still in Celtic's hands because they've got the best squad in the country. I don't care what anybody says. I fully believe Celtic are still got the best squad in the country. If they had a proper manager who played the proper tactics, then we would go on to win the league. But Hearts have got a chance, mate. You know what I mean? I'm not taking it away from them. They have got a good squad and that. yeah, I just think to myself, if Shankland gets injured, they've no got a replacement for him. You know, they're already started dropping points since Halkett's been it.
Mhm.
And, you know, I don't know. They've got a tough game at the weekend. There's an Edinburgh derby they're playing.
Mhm.
I don't know, mate. I think that they've got a chance. I think it's really down to Celtic, though, how Celtic, if they can turn this around this. You know, to me, mate, I don't feel they've got the proper manager in there. I know Celtic won yesterday. It was pretty decent for what I've seen, but
Mhm.
the tactics, man, you're playing free at the back and then you're playing such a high line. If you
Uh,
continue to play like that all season, mate, then Hearts will win the league. But as it stands right now, I still think Celtic will, but Hearts have got a chance and they've got every right to feel confident, you know what I mean?
mhm. Definitely. What was I going to say there? We'll move on for Rangers because I'm actually fed up talking about them already, and it's we'll talk about what happened to Kelly against Falkirk. Obviously, Kelly sacked Stuart Kettlewell. You would think that they want to try and get a result against Falkirk. They didn't. They get beat 1-0, and then an aftermath of what happened. Dominic Thompson arguing with his own fans. What do you make of that? Look, what do you think's going through his head at that time to make him aggravate it?
I don't know what was said in it, mate, but you see this kind of now and again. If teams are struggling in that, you know, you will get a certain player who will react in that. But the actual game itself, I watched the highlights and I thought Kilmarnock done all right. You know, I mean, they created chances. Uh, they just couldn't put the ball in the back of the net. A bit like Hearts in the second half. I thought Hearts could have went on and scored a few more against Rangers yesterday, but the Shankland was through and he had to put it by the post and there was a couple other chances in that, but. They just haven't got that striker up there, you know, unlike Falkirk, who did have that striker who scores goals, Brian Graham.
Mm,
He put the ball in the back of the net, and, you know, that's what Kilmarnock are crying out for. But, listen, mate, see when you're losing match after match after match, you get rid of your manager,
it's
and
got to,
what's that?
it's got to take a toll on you as a player.
Oh, definitely, and you're under pressure, and then, like I say, I don't know what was said. I seen the clips of it and stuff, and I could hear people shouting at him, and he was kind of just pointing, and then yeah, it was kind of more there was players coming up behind him, and that kind of seemed to have angered him more a wee bit. I thought, I
Aye.
don't know, I did like the Falkirk players and that, and a couple of Kelly players, and he was kind of a bit aggressive with them more than he was the fans. To be honest, I thought at one point. So, but listen, they need to sort it out, man. I know Chris Dillon's in there now, and
Mm-hmm.
I personally I would maybe give him a couple more games because I thought he'd done a decent job at Partick Thistle
Aye.
before he obviously he's went to Kelly and that. So it's tough times now for Kilmarnock, mate, but I think that they've got a decent enough squad. I think if they go out and get a striker in January who can put the ball in the back of the net in Scotland, they'll be fine.
Mm-hmm. I definitely think they will need to go and get a striker. But again, just on the Dominic Thompson incident, do you think that Kelly will reprimand him for his actions, or do you think it will be like one of the things like, right, you've done it, you're still playing, whatever, or do you think they'll just drop him?
Um, I don't think they'll drop him or anything. I think they'll maybe just have a word in his ear.
Aye.
Don't know, but whether the SFA or maybe has something to say about it. You know what I mean? But Kilmarnock themselves will probably try and just play it down and just say it's unacceptable. But listen, at the end of the day, mate, we've all seen it. I've seen it a million times over the years. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? And it's not as if he raised his horn to anybody or he
Aye.
done anything banging at a line. He was just kind of arguing with him, and it wasn't. To me, it was just pretty much handbags. But it just shows a bit of passion as well. The fact that he's over there, and I mean, I'm not condoning it, but it shows that he cares. The fact that he's actually there, kind of interacting with the fans, even if it's in a bad way. You know what I
Aye.
mean? But what do you think? Do you think it was? Do you think it was out of order?
I don't think he should have run the way he did with his players. Like, that's my opinion. His players are trying to calm him down, and he's pretty much like swinging the horn back at them, then stomping about like a Wayne.
Aye.
Do you know what I mean? Like, if somebody's pulling you away, just walk away. Don't make it worse for yourself. That's probably how he's ended up like that, because he's getting that riled up. His pals are his pals. His teammates are trying to pull him away, and he's getting that riled up about the guy shouting at him. I think everyone's just getting to it. It could just be the fact that they're on a really bad losing streak and all.
Aye. It'll
Uh,
be all right, mate. It'll be all right. It'll be the pressure, and obviously Stuart Kettlewell leaving and stuff, and then maybe his performances haven't been up to scratch in his opinion or whatever. And You know, maybe it's just a mixture of everything. But like I say, mate, it shows a bit of passion.
Aye.
I don't actually mind it sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Right, we'll move on to Cup one in St Mirren, 1-0 against Livy. Looked a decent game for what I've seen on the highlights. Aye, again, beat Celtic in a cup final and have kept the win going. No much
that's
way to,
it.
couldn't you?
Aye, man. I mean, obviously a very good performance in the cup final as well. Scored some good goals in that cup final. To me, there was only deservedly one winner in that cup final. So they're obviously running Saturday's game full of confidence. They've got a fantastic manager who will end up moving on at some point. I think, you know what I mean. There's no
Aye.
doubt about it that he's got up the way. So aye, mate. I mean, I watched the highlights as well. I thought St Mirren played really well. Livingston had their chances and stuff, but I fear for Livy this season. Do you know what I mean? It's like,
I think that this season's by. I definitely think they're going down.
aye, I think so, mate. I think that they're struggling unless they go out in January again and kind of strengthening that. But
Aye. And
aye, I
I
mean,
really like David Martindale as a manager, but
mhm.
he's no a Premier League manager. I think he's more a Championship manager.
Aye, and to be fair to him though, when he was in the Premier League and that beforehand, you know, and he had some decent players and that, he done all right. You know what I mean? But his hands are tied at Livingston. You know what I mean? It's like you're not going out and getting the best of players or whatever. He's having to be clever, and even like I assume they'll probably get the lowest budget in the Scottish Premiership,
Mhm.
along with maybe Falkirk. But I mean, like I say, his hands are tied, mate. But I think he does a decent enough job, Davy Martindale. But you
Aye.
know what it shows for me, James, is like seeing interviews and that, and he's kind of getting a wee bit ratty with people, and that
Mhm.
to me is a telltale sign. Like earlier on in the season, and he was moaning about podcasters, and he was going, "I sitting on some podcast and saying this and that, and you've not played it." And you're like, so we shouldn't have an opinion then. Do you know what I mean? We're not allowed an opinion as fans and stuff. So
Mhm.
that kind of annoyed me, and then he was getting annoyed the other week about something as well. And I thought, I think the strain's kind of getting to him a wee bit. See, when managers start doing that, there's there's a bit of pressure on them.
They're sort of blaming everybody else except for themselves.
Aye, aye.
But, just on St Mirren, like I've no spoke to you since the cup final. I've seen your videos about the cup final. What was your honest thoughts about that game? Like I wanted to ask you face to face, but
Well, like I said, I think St Mirren played really well, and taking nothing away from St Mirren, but obviously I'm looking at it from a Celtic point of view. And I thought Celtic were a disgrace, mate, like an absolute disgrace. Like there was no passion in that team, there was no desire. The
Mhm.
quality was just shocking. Wouldn't get by anybody. There was a wee 15-20 minute period in the first half where Celtic, you know, they had a couple of chances and that, but it wasn't as if they made the boy George in goal, like made loads of saves and that. You know what I mean? It was just like they had possession. They were St Mirren were blocking it well. George did make a good save down his left hand side for like that would have been an OG. Um, Apart from that, mate, Celtic didn't lay a glove on St Mirren. Do you know what I mean? And that's just not good enough for a cup final. I don't know how many times St Mirren just chipped the ball forward and they were in. You know what I mean? And that's my thing with his tactics. Is see if you're going to play a back three, you've got to be compact at the back. Stay, you know, they're too far up the pitch. Even yesterday's game, um, Celtic won 3-1, which I know we're going to get to, but like there was the Aberdeen goal was just a simple ball through, and he's 1-on-1 with Trusty, and as usual, Trusty can't deal with it, and the boy goes in and scores. The same with Dundee United during the week.
Mhm.
Um, you know what I mean? And it's like second half, boys through and goal 1-on-1. Schmeichel made the save, but then that led to a goal, and that's the thing. It's a simple ball over the top of Celtic all the time, with his back three. So St Mirren took full advantage of that day, man, and they deserved the cup, man. So fair play to them. It was just a mixture of St Mirren played well, Celtic were terrible, and aye, that's it, mate. They deserve the cup.
Mhm. Speaking about a back three, look, obviously we spoke about Hearts and Rangers, but Rangers played a back three yesterday with Tavernier out as a wing back and Max Aarons as a wing back. Do you like the wing back tactic, or do you think they should just stick to a straight back four like any team?
Personally, I'd stick to the back four. I mean, especially you need to have the right players to do it. I
Aye,
mean, again, I just feel as if people are trying to copy Pep Guardiola all the time. You know
aye,
what I mean? And he's got the players to do it, and he's got
aye.
the time to do it, and he's got the quality on the pitch. Whereas Max Aarons hasn't proved a thing since he's came to Rangers.
Nah.
You know what I mean? He scored one late goal against Livingston a few weeks ago, and that's about all he's done, man. As a general performance, mate, he's not been good enough. I know that obviously Tavernier as well has his critics. But I thought I didn't think Rangers were up too much. They obviously are missing a couple of players in that, especially like Cornelius and Suter and stuff like that. But I mean,
See,
I don't know, mate.
one point yesterday, Rangers had Raskin playing centre back.
Yeah, it's not good, does it, man?
Just
It's not good,
shows
man.
they've brought Tavernier off, brought Gassama on, and moved Raskin to centre back.
Yeah.
You've got John Sterling, who's just started. He's been out for over a year or nearly a year with whatever was wrong with him. And he's miles off it. He's not ready to start a game yet.
No.
That's my honest opinion, but
No, you're right, mate. But the thing is, with like Danny Robb, he's not really got a lot of options at the moment, has he? I mean, it's the thing with the difference between Celtic and Rangers, in my opinion, is Danny Robb has shown that even with players that aren't his and the players that haven't got the best of quality in that, he has got a good tactical kind of knowledge. He does make good decisions, I think, throughout the game and stuff like that. Whereas Wilfred Nancy is just he doesn't make good decisions and he's not got good tactical knowledge and he's. I'm just critical of the guy, mate. He's got a lot to prove to me, but like I think there are signs for Danny Roll to once he gets his own players in to actually make an impact in that Rangers team. You know what I mean?
So we'll talk about Celtic and then I want to talk about something else, but we'll start with Celtic first. 3-1 against Aberdeen. Nancy gets his first 3 points. His first one is Celtic. Does that change anything for you, or do you still very, very critical of him?
Verdict's still out, mate. I mean, like I say, I watched the highlights earlier on, and I watched them yesterday as well. The extended highlights, so I seen most of the kind of the big points in the game. But like Celtic had loads and loads of chances in both halves. Johnny Kerry missed sitters again. Dizamida missed a couple of sitters. There was just too many players. One thing I was happy about when I seen the team yesterday was no Rio Hatate in the squad because I've been very, very critical of him, mate. He is no good enough for Celtic anymore. He had a good first kind of 6 months to a year at Celtic, and after that, man, he just fell away. I don't know what's wrong with him, whether it's just he's not interested or he's just not up to it anymore. But that guy, the better he's not in the squad, the more he's not in the squad, the better. As for the game yesterday, so loads of chances. Ended up taking the lead. Nygren scored, and that's another thing. Nygren should never have. This is a guy who scored a goal there who didn't get a minute in the cup final. So Nancy's not got a clue of what team, what players is the best players. You know, Nygren's good enough to start again yesterday, scored goals. He should never have been on the bench for the cup final. You know what I mean? He's a massive threat. So they ended up taking the lead, and then Aberdeen had their chances as well in the first half, and then they got a man sent off. It was a definite red, in my opinion. It was the last man, had to go.
What do you think it was a definite sending off?
I don't obviously don't think the tackle was bad or anything like that, but he just pulled him back, and then you're in that position, you're through and goal. It's got to be a red, isn't it? You know what I mean? There was nobody covering at all or anything, so I think it was definitely. Do you think it was a red or you?
I'm gonna say aye. If I was in charge of, if I was at Celtic, aye, it was a red card.
I think so, mate. Like I say, it wasn't like the worst tackle in the world or whatever, but when you're in that position, and I think it was Maida, wasn't it? I think he'd have been through and goal, so.
Aye.
But aye, so second half, Aberdeen down to 10 men. Celtic again, absolutely littered the goal, man. You know what I mean? Just couldn't score. That's another thing under Nancy. They're not being able to put their chances away. And that's why, you know, I did get a lot of Celtic fans are saying, you can't blame Nancy because it's the players that are not putting the ball away and all that. And I get that, but the buck always stops with the manager. If they're not putting the ball away, then something's not right in training. Do you know what I mean? They need to be more clinical. So, you know, as far as I'm concerned, obviously you can be critical of players and individuals and all that, but when it comes to a collective thing and then you're losing matches and you're not playing well, that's on the manager to me. So, so Celtic eventually, second half, and then Aberdeen, equalised. Like I said earlier, a through ball, simple pass. Dizamida gets robbed in the middle of the park, and a simple ball through, and Trusty's exposed, and a boom, a goal, one each, and you're thinking, here we go again. You know what I mean? Is this going to be another fucking drop points? But luckily, two Scottish boys, Kieran Tierney and then James Forrest for his goal, 17 straight seasons, mate, which is just absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. Nobody can turn around and say that guy's not a Celtic legend now, man. He is a Celtic legend without a doubt, you know what I mean? He's over 500 games for the club, scored in every season that he's ever kicked a ball. I mean, unbelievable. Kieran Tierney, obviously, as well, gets to make it 2-1. So, aye, mate. I mean, obviously, there is positives in the team for the game yesterday, creating chances and all that, but the jury is well out, man. We've got Livingston on Saturday, and then we're playing Motherwell. Both games away from home next Wednesday. So these are two massive games for Celtic, and then obviously Rangers at the start of January, mate. So 3 massive games for Celtic in the next few weeks.
Just on the Old Firm at the start of January, what's your thoughts on that? Who do you think's going to come out? Obviously, Parkhead, isn't it? Aye.
So Parkhead, mate, aye. I think it all just depends on the form you're into the game. I mean, if Celtic play any better, if Celtic are starting to score goals and play a bit better, and all that, you would fancy them at home. You know what I mean? But then again, if it's going to be the same tactics, and you know, Rangers have got the players that will punish you if you play the 3 at the back. You know what I mean? You've got, as you mentioned, Mela, Gassama, Miovski, Mikey Moore can create chances, score goals, and that. So there is players there that can hurt Celtic if they play this back 3. You know what I mean? There is pace in that Rangers team. So I think it all just depends, mate. It all just depends whether Wilfred Nancy decides to change things up a bit or whatever. But
do you think he realised now after that win on Saturday that he needs to change things up? That he needs to start playing the players that will score, that will start chances, or do you think he'll change formation for Rangers coming?
I don't think he's going to change formation, mate. I think he's going to stick to the same formation. He just seems like the sort of guy who's just going to be dead stubborn, do you know what I mean? And stick to that. I think, obviously, individuals will maybe change his mind a wee bit, like Nigrin and stuff like that, and I hope so, because, I mean, like I say, he's our biggest threat, in my opinion. Obviously, he likes to look at Yang. Yang keeps playing all the games, although, again, Yang, for some reason, wasn't good enough to play in a cup final. That's just a baffling thing, you know what I mean? Like, Yang has started every game under Nancy apart from the cup final. You know, like, you don't know really what your team is or what you're doing or whatever, but don't know, mate. I think it'll be an interesting game anyway. Fucking Eton's better than the last league game anyway, wasn't it, man?
Aye.
The worst game ever, man.
Aye, because we spoke about that, did we not?
Aye, mate, it was the worst game ever, man. That was horrible.
Aye. From my point of view, I think Danny Rule needs to drop Butland. He needs to play Tavernier in the right position instead of a wing back. He's doing it full back. And I'm going to be honest, he needs to drop Raskin.
Aye.
Raskin's been nowhere near good enough, mate.
Mm.
And that really picks. I love Nico Raskin, but yesterday just topped it for me. He didn't look interested. There was nothing about him. It wasn't. Every time he got the ball, he was panicking.
Mm-hmm.
I just personally, he's dropped.
Is there a replacement in there, do you think, that could up to his standards, though?
I mean, Lyle Cameron's back, but again, he's not game time. I wouldn't fling him right in at an Old Firm. The only person who'd pass mark for me yesterday was Conor Barron. And it's the same every week. Wee man tries his heart out, he wins every tackle, goes into every game wanting 3 points, and nobody else looks at it. But you can't win a game with one player.
And that's just sometimes as a fan, that's all you're wanting into, man. You're wanting to see players show a bit of passion, dig in him. And I agree, Conor Barron, man. There was a tackle yesterday, man, and I think it was just in the Hearts flag, and he just dived in and won the ball cleanly, you know what I mean? And it's like, that's what you're wanting at your players when you're not playing well, man. You need somebody in there to be like
that. Aye. I think Rangers are missing a lot of boys. Like, obviously, they got rid of Goldson a few years ago. I think they're really missing him at centre half.
I liked Conor Golson, mate. I thought Conor Golson was a really good centre half, man. I know that he did have his critics and all that, man, but I thought he was solid in Scotland anyway.
Aye, they've not replaced him. They've not really replaced Dessers or Morelos. Let's be serious. I mean, Danilo and Miovski, aye, they two. Miovski's meant to know this league. See, to be honest, mate, he's not really doing it now.
Yeah.
Nah. Baseball would agree on that, Ian.
When you signed him, I get asked, you know, do you think that's a good signing for Rangers and all that? And I was like, not really. It doesn't really fill me with fear, mate, because Miovski went to Girona in Spain and he was rotten. I think he scored one goal.
I thought Miovski was going to be a great signing.
Uh,
And at the start, when he first come in, scored in his first game, and I was like, right, Rangers could maybe go into something now, but see now,
I think if you start, creating more chances, not that Miovski's the sort of guy that will stick goals away and that, but when other players run about you underperforming, you know what I mean? It's like he's on he's not going to go and try and create his own chances. He's the sort of guy that will stand the kind of 6 yard line and try and tap ones away for you. But if you're not creating them for him, he's not getting involved in the game, man.
aye, definitely. Obviously, other results for the weekend: Dundee United won, Hibs won. Pretty boring game. I watched the highlights there.
Right.
Both teams never really offered much apart from the goals. That was it. That's
Aye.
all I've got to say in that. I've not got much on it. Motherwell won, Dundee what now? Again, nothing much for that either.
For the highlights of that game, I mean, I thought it was very similar actually to the Celtic game and Hearts in the second half against Rangers. I thought there was loads of chances for Motherwell. I thought that they should have won 4-5-0 in that game, to be honest with you. I mean, there was loads and loads of chances. Boy did score a good header towards the end, right enough. That was he stuck that away well, but it looked to me as if Dundee offered nothing going forward, which is it's worrying for them as well. Obviously, they're quite lucky they have got Livingston in that position, mate, because Dundee aren't really offering much. But I thought I think Motherwell are they're looking good, man. They are looking good.
That's why they're sitting third above Rangers.
I know, mate. I mean, they are looking good though. I mean, I know they've lost a couple of boys to, and that's them playing like that on Saturday. Like I say, should have scored more goals, but they have lost a couple of boys to the African nations as well. So, I mean, I think he's building a right good team there. There's a good few Scottish boys in there as well, which is nice to see. You know what I mean? I think the boy Slattery as well. I think he's English, isn't he? He looks good, man. He looks. Somebody scored the goal actually, wasn't it? He looks good, man. I was impressed with him actually in the first game of the season against Rangers. Made the game. Russell Martin came out and just started slagging everybody. And Slattery played well that day. So Motherwell have got a decent enough team, man. I definitely want to watch.
Aye. On Dundee, Big Elvis Presley. What's your thoughts on him as a manager?
Again, mate, I mean, people made a judgment on him because obviously his record and stuff like that, right? But this is a guy that spent a good few years doing at Brentford as like coach and that. So I did think, he's going to have learnt a wee bit. And to be honest, mate, I think loads of people were expecting Dundee straight down. Do you know what I mean? No bother. They're garbage straight down. They've got a terrible manager. I don't think it's working out like at all. I mean, I think they are. Obviously, that game against Celtic that I watched a few weeks. Well, one of Rogers' last matches. Dundee were excellent that day. You know what I mean? And they have got some good players going forward in that. Congrove, his name is. He looks good, man. And there's a couple of other boys in that as well that look decent. And I think there's a very good chance Dundee will stay up this season. I mean, that's all you can really ask for with Stephen Presley and Dundee. You know what I mean? Again, it's one of the lowest budgets in the Scottish Premiership. Obviously, Tony Docherty got sacked because he had a bad season last season. He got them to the top six the season before it. So Dundee fans are kind of like, how no top six, how no, but listen, Dundee don't have the squad for that. You know what I mean? They just don't, man. All they can ask for is to stay up. But I don't think Stephen Presley's a bad manager as everybody makes it, man. I'm not saying he's like a good manager or anything, but like I say, mate, I think loads of people were expecting him to just fucking be 2 points right now or something like that and be bottom of the league and rooted to the. But it's just not turned out like that at all, man.
Mm-hmm. Who do you think's going down this year?
I think Livy will go down. I think Livy will go straight down. And then
go down in the playoffs.
Who? Dundee?
Kelly.
No. I think Kelly will get it together, mate. Whether it's I think they will. I think whether it's Chris Doolan that takes them forward or whatever, or if they get a new guy in. I think if they sign properly in January, like I say, we said earlier, a striker that can score goals, then I think they'll be fine, man. I don't think they've got. they've got a decent enough squad. You know what I mean? They have got some good players in that team still. So I think that Kelly will be fine, mate. Eventually, I think probably you'll find it'll probably be Dundee that'll be second, second bottom in the playoff, and then it's just a lottery for her, isn't it, man? After that, man, it's just fucking anything could happen.
I want your honest opinion here, right? When you would watch the Hearts game, who would you want to win?
Who did I want to win yesterday? Well, from a selfish point of view, I was hoping that Rangers would get a result, mate. But then again, I mean, like I say, it's currently 6 points to now. But Celtic have got a game in hand. You know what I mean? It's like if Celtic win that game in hand, it's only 3 points. And I was actually saying this to Corey earlier, the boy I did a podcast with. I was just like, you know what? Looking at how bad Celtic and Rangers have been this season, and for Celtic to only be 3 points behind Hearts, it just shows you how bad Hearts are. You know what I mean? Hearts are, people are going on about how good they are and all that, mate. If they were any good, they'd be a fucking 15 points clear by now, how bad Celtic have been. You know what I mean? But then they were on that wee stumbling patch again when Shankland was out. You know what I mean? They drew home to Dundee United and they get beat off Aberdeen. Then they drew with somebody else, didn't they? But I mean, if that was a decent a proper decent team in Scotland, mate, they'd be 15 points clear by now. But for some reason, they've managed to only be 6 points ahead of Celtic at this point, which is just mental because Celtic have just lost 4 games in a row or 3 league games in a row, and they're not really good at all. So, listen, it sounds like I'm being better against Hearts or that. I'm no, I'm just being honest, man. It's like if this was a decent Celtic or Rangers team, mate, they would be 15 points clear easily.
Aye. Before Nancy come in, did you want to keep Neil?
No, that's another thing I've been saying. Like people have said to us, and people keep going on about the timing Nancy came in and all that. Listen, Martin O'Neill left Celtic in a really good position. You know what I mean? They put them in a cup final. They were winning games. They beat Rangers in a semi-final. They were winning league games. All right, had one bad performance against Midtjylland away from home, and that was a bad performance to be fair. But everything else he touched was fine. But no, I wanted a manager in for the long term. You know, a younger manager to come in and do it properly, and for the players to actually invest in. It's kind of like saying like a loanee. If you get a loanee striker in, would you rather have a loanee for 6 months or a guy there, for a year, a 4-year contract that's got to score goals and that? See if we had a proper manager that came in after Martin O'Neill, nobody would be talking about the timing and all that. It's just the fact that Nancy's made an asset. You know what I mean? The first 4 games. Nobody would be saying it, and everybody would just be saying, "Oh, Martin's done a great job, and now we've got Nancy and everything's going well." But the fact being is that it's Nancy that's made an asset. So no, mate, I didn't want Martin O'Neill. I didn't want Martin O'Neill to stay. I'm thankful for what he done, and he done a brilliant job. But no, I wanted somebody in long term. I wanted Knutson for Bodo Glimt, as I told you before, but that's just not going to happen. Even if Nancy does get a sack, I don't think he'll be anywhere near it. But listen, man, Martin O'Neill done a great job, mate. But nah, no long term, man. The guy's 73-year-old.
Aye.
So.
Aye. I seen a lot of folks saying that they didn't want him because he was sort of treating their players like he did Thompson and Sutton, like he was back then. Like his coaching techniques was like really, really old school, and they won the for it. But they were winning games.
That's what it matters. Winning games, mate. That's what everybody care. I don't care. I couldn't care less, mate, if every Celtic player was unhappy. But see if they're winning games every week. That's what it matters.
Aye.
You know what I mean?
Right, we'll finish off with this. Where do you think Rangers will finish this season?
Ooh, that's a tough question, man.
I've got a feeling I know where they're going to finish.
I'll say third. Third. I think obviously as a big this is one of the biggest transfer windows for loads of clubs in Scotland and I can remember. You know what I mean? Celtic and Rangers particularly. Obviously Hearts as well, mate. You know what I mean? If they go on and sign a few players that improve their squad and all that as well, then they've got a right good chance. So for Celtic, Rangers and Hearts, this is a massive transfer window. You know what I mean? We've still got 5 months left of the season after December. So, I mean, I think Rangers will, I'll be honest, I think Rangers will finish third. I think that they will go on a run of winning games and that. And But Hearts have probably just done enough now to at least secure second, I would say.
For you as a Celtic fan, obviously you were talking there about the transfer window. What are you looking to bring in?
Well, we desperately need a striker. Desperately need a striker. Johnny Kenny's not up to it. Ian Atchell's never fit. The boy Osmond looked good when he came on in the cup final and that, scored his goal, but again, he's now injured. Daizen Maida's no a striker. So Celtic need a number 9. They've no replaced Kyogo properly. They've no replaced Kyogo properly. So
would you bring
Kyogo?
He's form in Birmingham, he's not scored for Birmingham yet.
I know, mate. I know. I'm no one for taking players back, man. I really don't like it. I mean, even like people going on about like, I didn't really want Jota back, for instance. You know what I mean? Jota decided to leave, nothing against the guy, and nothing. And I don't mean if a point, they've left Celtic or all that. I just mean a point of view, they've moved on, so we should move on. You know what I mean? I don't like looking back the way and bringing players in and all that. And although it does happen sometimes, and I think it's different with somebody like Kieran Tierney, who's a Celtic fan and has been a Celtic fan. I think people were saying, I didn't say that about Kieran Tierney, but like Kieran Tierney, born and bred Celtic fan, I'm not talking about that. Like people keep going every season about Odsonne Edouard and all this, you know what I mean? I wouldn't want Edouard back for fucking all the money in China, mate. Not at all, man. That guy down tools when he left Celtic. At the end of Celtic's reign, and people keep looking back on Edouard and all these others. Thing with Kyogo is, man, it's hard to say not to Kyogo because Kyogo scored loads of goals for Celtic. And it's not as if one thing you can't label on Kyogo was he did not down tools, mate. You know what I mean? I had, like, Brendan Rodgers came out after it when Kyogo left and said that he said for January. Now, Kyogo left in the summer. He said for January that Kyogo has been saying that he wanted to go. You would never have known that on the park.
No.
He was still running about daft, mate. He was still running into every tackle. And listen, would I take Kyogo back? I probably would, mate. I probably would. I think he's proven, obviously, he can score goals here and there. It's not working well down from Birmingham, but this might be. I would probably would take Kyogo back, mate.
Aye.
Brilliant.
Right, that'll do us for the night. Thanks very much for coming on, mate. Couple days to Christmas. Have a good Christmas and New Year.
No bother, mate. Same yourself. Thanks very much for inviting me on, mate. It's always nice to be asked on to these kind of things and talk to other podcasters. Your show's doing brilliant, mate. Watch the Nadie one, watch your Short Hay one. Have you got other kind of, you've got plans to do more in the future, aye?
Aye, we've got a couple lined up, but nothing.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, but aye.
Brilliant.
A few guests to try get them on, so hopefully it'll all work out.
Brilliant, mate. What's that?
With a lot of rejections.
Oh, fuck, mate. That's just part of it, mate. That's... Listen, if you take that personally, mate, you'll never do any of this. Like a football player, I'll not mention who he is, a football player followed me as on Instagram the other day, right? And I'm like, oh, brilliant, man. Fucking that's a wee in here. You know what I mean? So I followed him back, messaged him, patched, and then I left it a week and I was like, all right, mate, you know, into this, man, you what's up? And, you know, I was nice about it, you know what I mean? And again, read it, patched, and I'm like, oh, well, fair enough. All it takes is a wee listen, mate, I'm too busy or whatever, do you know what I mean? And I was like, but maybe that just happens all the time, man. My inbox and LinkedIn is just full of people who's dinged me or said no, you know what I mean? So
I messaged somebody in the other day there that I really used to, I just loved watching them when he was at Rangers. I messaged them and they just answered no.
Did he, aye?
That was
Nobody tells who that is.
I'm not canny.
Well, he said no, you fuck him. I mean?
His one word was no.
No. Just no, that was it.
Just no.
I need to find out who that is, man.
Just no. That was like, all right.
That's a bit rude, isn't it, man?
Okay.
Fucking hell, man. Well. But mate.
Aye.
It happens. So a Rangers player, I'll mention him. I don't know, I probably know the same Rangers player, mate, but one of the Rangers players I messaged me back saying, no, I'm not something I'm interested in. And that was Bert Korterman.
Oh.
Bert Korterman said that to me. I don't mind mentioning it. He said no, so fuck it. No saying anything bad on it, so.
It was him that said no to me. Anyway.
Was it, Alexa?
Aye.
Was it, aye? Just said no?
Just straight up no.
Oh well, fair enough, mate. Oh well, Bert, if you're watching, get it up, you mate. Right, mate. You have a good Christmas, like you say. All the best, mate. All the best for the podcast. I'm always here for any help or advice you need, mate. You know that.
Thanks very much, mate. It was good talking to you. All right.
You too, pal. See you after.
Cheers, bud. See you later.